and the people I had was like a lot of word of mouth type of people. Okay, and I have to get to one thing in a second. I'll get to that in a second because I did have help, but I'll tell you that in a second. And he said to me, he said, why are you charging them that? And I said, I had this excuse. Well, Dad, I'm trying to build my business, and if I charge, this amount, then I'll get more people. And he said, are you doing anything different than what the other big box companies are doing? I said, no. He said, well, then you're cheating yourself and you're cheating your industry. You're making the industry worse by not charging what they're charging.
That's a bar. That's a goddamn bar. You hear that, folks? That's a bar. Don't mess up the industry. Stop all that 2 for $5, 1 for $3. They straight up 10. Remember that. Go ahead.
That was an eye opener for me, and I never looked back from that because it's right. We come in, we do the same thing that anybody else would do, if not even better. All right, and I guess we'll get to that in a second. But let me circle back just a little bit because I did have help. While I was working at the retirement community, they would send me to seminars for the pest control because I was responsible for letting those guys in. Okay, and I met a few people there, and while I was there, there was a gentleman, he's my mentor now, named Marty Overline. He's the owner of a company called Aardvark Pest Management. And they don't have, you wouldn't know their companies because they don't have any markings on their vehicles.
Was that the name of your company at first? Or am I tripping?
No, you saw me with an Aardvark shirt
on. Okay.
Yeah,
I probably just assumed. Yeah. Okay.
So when I got my license and everything, I came to him with my license. I had already had it. And I said to him, Marty, I'm looking to get into business, what I need to do. And he said, I'm gonna do something for you. He let me he had the city contract, City of Philadelphia contract, the whole contract for the city. All right,
very lucrative.
Yeah, big contract. He gave me all the water departments.
Dang, just off a relationship.
He let me subcontract all the water departments. Yeah. So that's why I had his.
You definitely had that shirt. I thought, because I used to put Aardvark. When I first met you, I put Aardvark in the phone because I got you down as Aardvark. Yeah, so that's funny.
Yeah, that's how that happened.
Damn, that's crazy. So yeah, wow, he gave you all the water department.
Yeah, he really gave me my start. And see, that's the thing that I want to say is that I don't believe there's any such thing as pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. Somebody along the way helped you. Whether they gave you some information, whether they gave you a few dollars, whether they gave you an opportunity.
That's all I need, opportunity.
Somebody along the way helped you. Somebody. So you may have done the bulk of the work.
Yeah, the hard work.
Yeah. But you don't get in certain doors, you don't get certain opportunities, you don't get certain benefits unless there's somebody that might be in place to speak up on your behalf or to be there for your behalf or give you the opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody just was saying that today they had to learn how to accept the blessings from other people because it's like those people paying it forward. And it has nothing to do with the conversation me and you was having. It was just a conversation I was having before I even got here today where somebody was explaining to me how like all their life they always had to do for self and because they never wanted nobody to throw nothing in their face, but then a good friend of theirs helped them at a time when they couldn't repay it back. And then they was trying to like figure out a way to give it back to the friend. And the friend was like, you can't give it back to me.
Yeah.
It ain't for me.
Yeah.
Then the girlfriend explained to her like, listen, when I didn't, all my life to get to where I'm at in life, people helped me. Therefore, I help people. So there is no paying it backwards. It's just pay it forward and just keep giving the opportunities or the blessings or whatever, So that's crazy that so because of your character and who you were as a man, this guy was able to say, you know what, take the water department. Because he hadn't even seen your work, right?
No, he sent me with one of his guys and it was his route actually, and he sent me with one of his guys. The guys walked me around all different areas I had to go, and showed me what I needed to do. And you know, listen, I didn't really have any formal training. It was just, I just had eagerness, I had ambition, I had
You wanted to learn. You wanted to learn.
You know, and I had to make it work. You know, you get to a certain part of your time in your life, or place in your life, or age, where you don't have time to waste 5 years and then start over.
I'm going through that now.
Yeah, you don't have time to waste, you know, because that makes you 5 years more older.
Yeah, 5 years older,
you know, and if you're middle age, you know, that's closer to what most people say retirement, what have you.
I mean, I'm closer like this at 43 now. I know I got less years ahead of me. Going figuratively by just by my family lifespan. Everybody usually kicks the bucket at 80, so you know what I mean. Like, so if I'm looking forward, it's like, man, this 43 went kind of fast. I got 30 more 7 left on the clock.
Yeah.
I ain't got time to keep making the same mistakes of a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old, you know, being stagnant. You know.
You don't. And that time goes by so fast.
Yes.
I have a 23-year-old son, just graduated from Kutztown University. And, but I started with him at 14. I started my transition of him into manhood when he was 14. And my separation from being dad to father, and I'll explain that in a second. Because I knew his time was coming, and I groomed him from the time he was 14 to the time he was 18 and leave to go to school. And I kept telling him, the next 5 years of your life is going to be one of the most crucial and important times of your life to make the proper decisions. And he said, why, Dad? And I said, because it'll be the first time in your life that I'm not responsible for everything that you do.
You're going to be responsible for you.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you don't make the right decisions over the next 5 years, it may take you the next 20 to fix the decisions that you missed.
That's baby making, breaking the law. It all goes into that. I'm not talking about your son, but just anybody that's 18 years old. That one mistake you can make will change your life. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I still tell him that today. So when he walked in, it's funny because this just happened 2 months ago in May. And I never thought that I could ever be this proud of anything ever in life as I was when I watched him walk across that stage to get his degree. Because it did two things for me. It said, here's my little boy, now he's a man. And then it also said to me is, I'm no longer dad, I'm father. Now let me explain that.
Yeah, explain that.
Yeah. When you're dad, you're in control of all of his everything, or your children's everything, because they depend on you for everything. Dad, I need, dad, they coming to dad. Doesn't mean it doesn't stop when they get adults, but it's not a dependency. It's not a, you know, all right?
And you have a choice of if you want to help.
Absolutely. Yeah. But when you become father, now you're guiding decisions that are being made. Now it's my responsibility to walk alongside him in his life instead of pulling him along, all right? Now, my conversation with him is different. So when he says, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, in my head and the wisdom that God has given me in these years, I know to some degree if it's something that he should do or he shouldn't. And then my conversation with him is to let him see it for himself so he can make the proper decision, not tell him how to do it.
So your wisdom can give him some insight.
Yes.
But he still may do whatever he feels
necessary. Exactly.
So it's
but he can never say he was never told or guided in that way. All right.
But you know, at some point in your journey, you're going to wind up standing on his shoulders, though. That's how it go, player.
Standing on his shoulders? What you mean?
You're going to stand on his shoulders. Because it's like when you get older, I went through it when my mom got dementia.
Okay.
So when my mom got dementia, it became a point where everything we learned, no matter what our relationship, everything we learned at that point had to deal with propping her up.
Yep.
Either holding her or putting her on our shoulders.
Yep.
And us being the legs for her to make sure that her last years on this earth would be as comfortable as possible. And it was everything that she did with us, my brothers and sisters, because nobody did it by themselves. Was the repay, like, here you go.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like you build up, like you know, like you said, being born, you dragging this kid.
Right.
Then it gets to the point where where you will be walking side by side. But during that journey, normally, the older one is going to start to give out. And when that older one give out, did you put enough in this kid to make sure this kid is going to carry you now? It's deep.
And that has to start at a young age.
Yeah.
All right. That was nurtured when he was, knee high to a duck. Just because everybody spells it this way too, but children spell love Time. That's how they spell love. So the more time you spend with your children, the more they understand the love that you have for them. Okay? So I spent a lot of time with him, a lot of time.
Even through all your career changing?
All of it, because my love for him was greater enough to the point where I would sacrifice what I wanted for the benefit of him, and he didn't ask to be here, and he was given to me as a responsibility to raise. My time was going to come. I was a young dad, so eventually he would get to a place where, he can walk on his own, all right? And then from a little distance I can, hey, turn this way, hey, turn that way, I can guide him that way. But initially he needed me, and I was going to make sure I met that need as much as I could.
Wow, man, like we really didn't even really get to the, see, that's what I'm saying about just conversation. This was a deep conversation. I know the people behind the camera just learned some stuff right now. I'm telling you, I seen it in everybody's face back there. They got all types of lights and stuff going off over the top of their head. But wow, like damn, this is pretty good. This is pretty good.
Yeah, and the reason why I was like that with him was because I didn't know my dad, or I didn't reconnect a relationship with my dad until he left when I was 2, and I reconnected with him when I was 18. I was a freshman in college.
Okay.
Yeah. And in between those 16 years, there was no interaction. Okay? And I always said to myself that I wouldn't do what my dad did to me. Now, I must say this, my dad and I have an excellent relationship now. We do. And we built that relationship from the 18 years on. But that time mattered, all right? Because that was my discovery phase, okay?
Decision making, emoji decision making, because?
Well, there's 4 seasons of your life, okay? When you're roughly about 2 years old to roughly about early 20s, you're in discovery phase, okay? You're discovering things of life for the first time, all right? You don't really have a whole lot of experience with life. You're discovering. You're discovering how to eat. You're discovering what water does. You're discovering what fire burns. You're discovering you can stub your toe. You're discovering you can ride a bike. You discover all those things are new, okay? So you're in discovery phase.
To the 20s, a lot more than that you're discovering a lot of other things.
Oh yeah,
too,
you can, depending on depending on how open you are.
Yeah, how warm this thing is. But yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Don't leave out that. You know what I mean? You're discovering a lot of things that can change.
Hey man, this is rated G. It's rated G.
You discover a lot of things that can change your life at that point.
Yeah, you can.
And you see a lot of guys who don't have that guidance now.
Yeah.
They're discovering things and doing things that where it may have been a thought in the average child mind, but somewhere in there you got somebody telling you that's not a good idea. Or just what you learned, you know, and nobody's there to tell them that's a bad idea, but go ahead back.
Yeah, but they're operating off of their base nature. They're operating off of what feels good.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
Without any knowledge.
What may happen with this feeling good may do to me later or whatever.
And that's the point that I was making to you about becoming a father and guiding. Okay? Because you can say, nope, you don't want to make that move. This is what's going to happen if you do, okay? But then after discovery, you're in the truth phase. So from the early 20s to maybe your mid-30s, you're in the truth phase. So you're just trying to figure out.
20 to early 30s, the truth phase?
Yeah, mid-30s. You're in the truth phase because what you're trying to do is you're trying to figure out what you believe to be true. What did my parents teach me? And now you're testing it to find out, is it true to you? Religion, life stuff,
relationships,
all of that. You're in your truth phase because that's going to develop the rest of you. Okay. After that phase, now you come into the family phase because now you done been through maybe several relationships, or you done had a long-term relationship. You done already discovered a lot of things in life. You got some years behind you now. So from your mid-30s to your early 50s, mid-50s, you're in like the family. And then you start to realize that the most important things to you in life is family. You know, because you done been through all the other things. You know, at the end of the day, money's okay. I got a house. I got a car.
All that, possessions are very
overrated. All that stuff doesn't really,
very overrated. Yeah.
You start embracing what really means something to you, and that's family. And in the twilight of your years, and that's 60s on, is security. Where am I going to live the rest of my life? How?
But that's predicated off the investments that you made in those back times.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And the reason why I said, because you said those 4 seasons, and I could just think of not millions, I could think of hundreds of people that I've met in my life whose seasons are all fucked up. Like real shit. Like, so some people may have went into that family stage when they were still in the discovery stage. You know what I mean? Like, so you saying discovery is 0 to 20. I know people that had kids from 13 to 18, you know, and it's just because of, it sounded like what you were describing was like a very good environment. Or at least an environment with some type of control.
All right, so let me say it to you this way. When you get to the family stage, it's more about it's more of a season of life. Okay, and seasons of life comes with years, not with events. All right, they come with years, not with events, because there's an evolution of life with years. Okay. For example, you talked about I don't want to use your mom, but you know, in nursing homes, they have what they call memory care for people who have Alzheimer's or dementia. All right. And years ago, they used to call it senility, or people who are in their second childhood.
Okay.
All right. But you don't normally get there until you're a certain age. All right. So it's almost like, you know, you had to wait till you got a certain age in order for that
It's almost like you go out the same way you came in.
Yeah, almost like something. I mean, you want to say it that way,
Yeah.
You know, so you can't tell me somebody at 20 just because they got a child has the same wisdom as somebody that's 45.
Oh no, not at all.
They haven't lived enough time.
No, but it's almost like now you at the party. It's almost like you walk through that door and now you're here now.
Yeah, but you're still growing up with your child.
Yes.
All right? Because you don't have enough years behind you with experience in order to draw from anything that you've experienced in life. Does it make sense?
Oh, yeah. I mean, what I'm saying is that I'm not saying that, like, no, I'm saying the way you just said it should be the goal for a lot of people.
Right.
But what I experienced in the life that I grew up, so whether it was a tenant, somebody I was in high school with, whether it was a client, whatever it was, I see a lot of different styles. So now when you just said the 4 seasons, like I said, I've been seeing people's seasons. People been jumping the seasons. You know what I mean? So maybe sometimes, you know, slow it down some, stop jumping those seasons. Because, you know, if going by what you said a good relationship should start in your 30s. From what you said, like that what you're saying, like the adult relationship. I guess you're saying like the house buying and the baby making or something.
No, what I'm saying is by the time you get to your 30s, you probably went to maybe 1 or 2 significant relationships already.
Okay, so you know what you want and don't want.
Yes. All right, that's what I mean.
Okay.
But normally you don't get there until you're in that age, because a lot of times when you're young and you're in a young relationship, you know, you're gonna have some years with that. And if you're not a good person, you may have multiples. All right.
I'm not a good person. Please understand, I'm not a good person.
You may have multiples. I mean, and that's just the way of the world. We have multiple relationships and we have these high body counts, but that catches up to Jesus. But that catches up to you. It catches up to you to a point. After a while, you can't outrun those shades of life. You know, the vicissitudes of life, they call them. You can't outrun those shades when you get a certain age. It comes a time when you got to face it, all right? Because now you start to realize I'm 41, 42, 43 years old. I can't move the way I was moving when I was 22.
Yeah.
You know, I can't live the way I was living when I was 31.
I can't leave at 6 a.m. and leaving a donut on your table. It's the day's over. I'm old now. I gotta sleep till like 11. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So you start to realize that, and life will force you to.
Yeah, definitely.
You know. So you have no choice but to follow the way life is going to take you.
So as you start to slow down, you got to figure something else out.
Yeah, I mean, it comes a time when there's a reckoning. You know.
I don't even like that word.
Yeah, that's reckoning.
Don't sound good.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's all a matter of perspective on how you see it. You know, it's like, all right, I'm going to take the bull by the horns, and I'm going to steer it myself, or I'm going to get poked and prodded by all the rest of my life. So you have to decide what it is that you want to do in your life. It's up to you what decisions you're going to make in order to get to where it is you're trying to go. All right? And if you don't know, here's the other thing that I tell people is that you don't have to know everything.
No, definitely not. That's that. Anybody know everything? Get away from me. Get away from me now. Like, because if you know everything, there's no reason for us to even talk. Because you know everything. You know what I mean? I always have a thing with contractors. And once a contractor show up to me and tell me he can do everything, it's the last time I'm ever working with him. Yeah. Because if you do everything, you got to do something wrong. Yes. And 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to do a lot of things wrong and probably one thing right. So I don't like nobody that does everything or they can do it all. That's why here is more than one. You know what I mean? I hate I can do everything person.
Well, you just made my point for me about pulling up by the bootstraps.
Oh no, I don't believe in that. I don't know nobody. I don't believe in self-made. I mean, you know, some things people do by themselves. Are there some people who lead the pack? Yeah, but even the leader get tired. You know what I'm saying? Even down in Patrick Mahomes, he's not going to throw every touchdown to win the game. And sometimes Tyreek Hill got to help him. Like, you know what I mean? There's no such thing as just this one guy or one woman or one anything that just does everything. No such.
You're just the person who's in the center is just a catalyst for the change of the other things that are to come. Yeah, they're just a catalyst for it. They aren't necessarily the reason. They're the catalyst for it. They're initiating.
They're the energy. Yeah,
they're initiating it. You know, the catalyst is basically the person who is the initiator of all the things that you're trying to put into effect, or the initiator of the plan. Okay, there's other players that have to be a part of that plan in order for it to come to fruition. Okay, so you brought up Patrick Mahomes. He is the initiator because he has the ball in his hands each play. However, he doesn't score a touchdown unless he either runs it, gives it to another guy to run it, or pass it to another guy to get it. Yeah. Right? He doesn't win a game one by himself against 11 other players. He needs the other 10 in order to help him win the game. Right? So when you look at life, and if you don't have a lot of hubris and pride and think, I got this, you know, you will put yourself in a position to be humble enough to go to people who already know so that you don't have to make the mistakes that they made to get to where it is they got.
That word hubris. I don't use that. I'm quite sure you guys don't use it. What exactly is hubris?
Pride.
Okay. Pride is hubris, folks. Pride is hubris.
Okay.
Nah, not some people like hubris. What's that? Is that the Hublot watch? You talking about the watch? Like, you know, that's how some people get. But
I believe in mentorships.
Okay.
All right. I have 3 mentors. One mentor is in the business. One mentor I've had since sophomore year in college. And one mentor who is, and I'll expose this, he's a former mayor of the city.
I know, you told me. I was going to bring it up, but I didn't know. Yeah. I was like, I don't know if I could bring that up yet, but yeah.
And I use all 3. All right, and I defer to them. Okay. Okay.
Now, do you take their advice all the way, or you just sometimes take an opinion to give you like a different angle?
I listen to everything they tell me.
Wow, right? You just do it.
And as I listen to them, I take what applies.
Okay.
Okay. And there's a trust factor there with them. Okay. And because there's a trust factor there, I know whatever it is they're telling me out of the best interest of me, okay? So me knowing that, and I've never been steered wrong, because they don't have any ulterior motives.
You don't have nothing to gain out of that, yes.
Yeah, you know.
They don't hate you because you're younger than them or hate you for that. You know, because sometimes older people will hate some of these bad environments I've been in. I see how the older prey on the young, so.
Indeed, but those are the ones that didn't grow up.
Yeah. Correct.
Right?
Don't understand you can't stop nobody from getting what they're gonna get. If it's meant for them, they're
they're the
gonna
ones
get
that didn't grow up because they never achieved. Here's my definition for hater: a person seeing you getting ahead and that gets mad at you because they can't catch up.
Person see you getting ahead and get mad at you because they can't catch up. Remember that, people. I see that you have your brother working with you.
Yes.
And I see so with your business is like, I'm not gonna say it's a family-owned business, but like is that the type of business where it's like, you know, if you have nephews, cousins, or even your son, if you want to say, hey dad, I want to come and do like, you know, help you out with I don't know what his major is in college, but maybe sometimes you'll get lucky if you have a business and, you know, maybe the son went for this and that. Like, do you ever see yourself, you know, building the business to the point where it could be like a Walmart, where you can say, hey, you know, hey guys, look, this y'all gonna run this. I'm on my way to retirement. We got this coming up. We got these amount of government, city, state contracts. You know, how do you see this thing playing out 10 years from now?
Number one, this is just a stepping stone. This business is a stepping stone to other things.
Okay.
This is not my goal.
Okay.
All right. The pest control is a means to an end now. But I said earlier, I believe in multiple income streams.
So will you ever like sell the whole business? Or
No.
Okay,
no.
so the business will stay.
So the plan is to keep the business and grow it, which is happening now, but also to do other stuff under a holding company.
Okay.
All right. So I create a holding company, and all the other businesses will be subsidiaries underneath of that. Okay.
So if it's like Fowler Investments, this will be your first joint.
Yep.
And I guess some real estate.
Yep.
And I guess that old people's home. So it's almost like you're doing your whole life like this, but now you're coming back as like the CEO. Like you worked the old folks. Now you're going to eventually one day build your own folks and then have your pest control company. I don't want to tell all your plans and stuff because I talk to you a lot. It's even, I want to get into the export and import and export business he does too, but I know that we're going over the time. So if you really like it, you're going to have to beg me to bring this man back on. This man's plethora of knowledge. This man knows a lot. Like it's times me and him talk, man, and he's on his routes and he may be talking with me for an hour or two and be like, damn, I got to go. Like, you know what I mean? But this man has a lot of knowledge. But yeah, so the way you have it, you say it's going to be an investment company. It's going to be, you're going to make a lot of legs come off this company.
Yeah. Let me say this,
Okay.
because I got some notes here, but I'm just kind of off the top of my head with it. Study the people who are already successful. See what they do. Play the same game they play. Okay. If you get a holding company and you have other subsidiaries underneath of it, you insulate yourself from
lawsuits
and stuff like that. That's number one. Number two, my suggestion is that the other companies don't have anything to do with either other. So for example, pest control and import and export don't have nothing to do with each other.
No, yeah.
All right. Pest control and retirement community don't have nothing to do with each other.
But pest control can service the retirement community.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, of course that. But yeah. But the monies don't mix or nothing like that.
No, you want to be involved in different entities. All right. Because if one fails, the others don't.
Correct.
You know. So you want to insulate yourself in that way if you can. You know. And I'll say this too: the more you work and the more you gain success, the more success is attracted to you.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I don't worry about getting new clients or new contracts or anything like that. My expectation is they'll come.
And the main thing is to service the ones that you do have.
Yes.
And don't worry about the if.
No.
Worry about what you do have.
No. And I don't worry about the if because I have an expectation that this is going to be successful. So I operate in that frame.
Gotcha.
Okay. I don't know how much time we have, but I'll say another thing for you. When you have a business, if you treat it like a hustle, everybody else will.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody treat your business like a hustle. I don't care how big or how small you are, if you're just starting, if they see your business as a hustle, then you're always somebody they're going to barter with. They will never embrace your pricing. They will never see you as value, the value in you that you may think you have value for. And they may have a little bit of disrespect for what it is that you do. Okay, so even initially when I was showing up at people's houses with another company shirt on, doing Fowler Pest Solutions work, I never let anybody treat my business like a hustle.
Yeah, he wouldn't even tell people he owned the company. So when we met each other, I act like I didn't own the property. He act like he wasn't the owner of the company. So it's just funny how that goes. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because you might not, because I don't see me as being a company. I am one of a
employee
piece
of a company. Yeah.
You know. So my whole thing is, you may not get me. You know, because there's gonna come a time where you won't. All right. But the one of the good ways, best ways of success in your business is duplicating yourself. If you're doing it the right way, then the people that you're training them to be you, not talk like you or anything like that, but being able to be as good as you are, if not better. All right. And then you're also making sure that you don't allow them to develop bad habits and whatever, especially if you're in the service industry. All right. You want to make sure that people don't develop bad habits. So we would much rather hire people who had no involvement in the industry at all and want to get involved
and show them your way.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because when you go get people that's
experience, they already have the shortcuts and bad habits.
Yes.
I got you.
Yes.
I got you.
And it's harder to break those with them.
I just said that this fall, this spring, the last job I was at, a lot of guys got kind of tight with me because I took a younger guy under my wing and showed him how to be the head dog. And the guys that was there for a while was like, well, damn, why you ain't take one of us? Y'all got too many bad habits. And y'all think having power means I do less. And it doesn't mean that. It actually means I do more, but it's just from the neck up. I pay attention more. I know where everybody else is supposed to be. Y'all think because y'all have this power, now I can go in this office, put my feet up, and never come out and check on the people. Because now I got that title, which doesn't mean nothing.
Pioneer Lead Care is committed to treating each individual with dignity and respect. We take pride in providing quality care to those who require assistance at home. Contact us now.
Excellence is our standard.
Excellence is the rule.
Never the exception.
PioneerEliteCare.com